And we're back. This is Trooper Barry with you again, continuing our coverage of the Choose Wisely Festival. And we are checking out the demo for Imperial Grace. It is an otome kind of visual novel from Synstoria and published by Abiding Bridge. uh, well, Brady, this is us, or this will be us soon. Yes, it is a kind of a medieval game with a visual novel built around politics, intrigue, and of course, romance. Uh, so the Steam page lists a 2026 release, so this one is a fair ways along. You see, this is the demo version 3.1, so you can see it's definitely been worked on for a while. Let's check our settings here real quick. Ooh, there are, brace yourself, Brady B, there are suggestive scenes. You can fade to black if you so choose. We won't. Okay, and that all seems totally fine. Okay, so settings all look good. Yeah, chat. Let me know if the volume is too quiet, and we'll kick it up again. It's a rare treat having a game where the volume isn't cranked all the way up when you first load the game, and you gotta turn things down. This game is intended for a mature audience. Take note, chat. It contains many themes that could offend the sensitivity of younger players. The complete list of trigger warnings is available on our store page. You're going to play a demo version of the game, thus the content might be subject to change, and some features may be missing, such as the diplomacy feature. Yeah, we're playing the demo. Show me some tips. Click anywhere on the screen. Use your mouse wheel to go back even after a choice. Oh, wait, even after a choice? So we got... Interesting. Not even saves coming. Okay, several accessibility features are available. Nice. So you're dyslexic, photosensitive, or epileptic, so it has to... Okay, that's good. It's always good when devs keep accessibility in mind. More players, more better. You can check your resources for the extra... Ooh, resources? Have fun. Well, if you insist. Normal mode, you need to spend your resources carefully, or story mode, you'll have infinite resources. You know what? I'm curious about it's like a visual novel. You don't hear a lot of like resource management from visual novels, so I'm curious about this. But given that this is the demo, and we're mostly here to experience the story, and the devs told me this demo should run about 2 to 3 hours. But given how slowly we've been playing these, it'd probably be closer to 3. Let's focus on the story. We'll go infinite resources. Here we go. Ooh, we can character customize. So we have civility and then skin, hair, and eyes. Oh, so this is our character. So let's see, first name, you can import. What would you import? Let's see, we will of course be, we'll be Crunklet. And so we can pick our starting loadout, I guess. So we get Blessed by Basan. You have loved fighting since you were a child, although you were not allowed on the battlefield because we are a woman. You are in excellent physical shape, and your swordsmanship rivals that of a man. You have a starting bonus in Army. Oh, hang on. Was ist das? Oh, you can zoom. You can zoom, Brady B. Oh, here you go. So this disability, the god who blesses you will give a specialty that will affect certain choices, lines, and scenes. We have Blessed by Amatera. When you were younger, you were a scholar. You almost became a scholar. Your love of reading and learning has given you a knowledge in many fields, including astronomy, theology, and botany. We have blessed by Horel. You have mastered the art of diplomacy and eloquence. You can improvise inspiring speeches at an instant, and you know the first names of every noble over 3 generations. See bonus to army, bonus to religion, bonus to influence, and blessed by Myriad. Numbers and resources management hold no secrets for you, and you have excellent relations with merchants, are good at mental arithmetic, and know all the subtleties of tithes and other taxes, not only from Calidya, but also from your neighbors. Starting bonus to money. Yeah, they're all so tempting. And again, this is just the demo. Don't overthink. Just pick one. Okay, let's see. So let's go for the role playing angle here. If we were to self insert, how would we rule? Through might, through faith, through money, or through good talking? Or do we, because I'm such a conflict averse person, do I actually pick the army bonus and then focus elsewhere? Just stop. Yeah, we're gonna okay. We're gonna go. We're gonna be the nerd. Okay. Skin. We can go pale, slightly less pale, medium, and deep. See, freckles. Sure. Beauty mark. Oh, there is. Yeah, those are. Oh, hang on. Computer enhance. Okay. Nah, that's all right. Okay. Hair. Oh, the hair type, contrary to the hairstyle, cannot be modified during the game and will be taken into account during illustrations. Okay. Thanks. So we have. Oh, we have. Oh, so there actually we have different sub types within straight, wavy, curly, and dreads. We got. Oh wow, we can go all out, can't we? Oh shoot. I I was dang it. So yeah, the mouse wheel really does undo everything. Whoops. Okay, I will have to remember that. Okay, tan, freckles are fine. Hair, let's just. You say 2 to 3 hours. Well, according to the devs, I mean, you can linger as much as you like. There, I like that one. And then eyes. Oh, you can go heterochromia, but that'd be a bit much. Let's go. Yep. Yep. Maybe a little lighter blue. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, we're locked into white hair. That's fine. That's no big deal. We'll be slightly crispy. Although if we're a nerd, yeah, if we're an indoor kid, we should probably be as pale as possible. Okay, and yeah, we will be. That's very close to Amaterasu, but no. All right, let's go. Oh, Customized on the screen will not be reflected in the illustration. See, this match option adapts your outfit to the illustration, not the other way around. Change outfit after green day. Click on Extra Outfit. Okay. Oh, you can define different outfit for different occasions. Casual meaning everyday life. Formal for parties. Attention, the fight category is for the... Oh, okay, so we have no battle dress. That's fine. Oh, wait, you can customize the hair for every... Oh, my God. Well, no, okay, if it's going to be our dressing gown, yeah, we should probably let our hair down. This is from pure, almost the softest outfit you'll ever own. Or, okay, nope, that's too much. Let's see, casual, that's fine. Outfit. Oh, yes, these are all very casual. Oh, it's our mom's dress. Your father gave it to you for your 16th birthday and always loved seeing you wear it. Inspired by peasant dresses, pleasant to wear, especially in summer. Ooh, yeah, that is extravagant. That is slightly. They call this type of dress a husband maker. Ooh. You know what? I'm into simple but elegant. Necklace says crowns. Oh, unlocks after your coronation. Ooh. And then formal. Yeah, this is a remarkable amount of customization. Oh, for formal occasions, yeah. If we're going formal occasions, yeah, we'll go all out. Okay, I like it. Although, yeah, we should probably do our hair up. There we go. Oh wait, there's a slider. That's fine. Okay, there we go. Prologue time. Linger to make her free. Yeah, and I would I guess my assumption is that we'll be seeing this because it's not like Elden Ring, where you spend however many hours on the character customization screen, and then the second you pop on a helmet and armor, they lose all individuality. Okay. Your Grace, Your Grace! A panicked voice resonated in my dream like an echo, a few moments before I understood that it came from somewhere else, and woke up with a jolt, disoriented. The palpable feeling of urgency had immediately brought me to my senses, but it still took me a few seconds to recognize the advisor's voice, as well as the room I was in. Okay, this is us, Kronglet de Terrenfell. Alden, what's going on? Your Highness, I bring terrible news. Oh, hi, advisor. Your father, your father was assassinated last night. I was ready to hear just about anything. Managing crises was an important part of royalty, after all, and yet I was completely stunned by the news. My father was dead, at the hands of an assassin, just a few rooms away from me. All the implications from this revelation bounced through my head, drenched in doubt and fear concerning my own security and for the future of the realm of Calidya. I beg your pardon, Your Highness, I was too late. And you carry a weapon 4 times the size of the character. Well, yeah, there is that too. But you have some control over that. But yeah, you you would have to be playing a very particular character in a very particular way, just to still be able to see their face, right? Like Maybe if you were doing like a mage build or just something that didn't require you to have head protection. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is someone else. Pulling myself out of my lethargy, I looked down on Alexander, who knelt next to the bed, his head bent low, as if the weight of his shame stopped him from getting up. Whatever went down, I knew he had nothing to be ashamed of. When I was just a child, I already admired his talents, and they grew steadfast with age and the position of general. His presence was a relief. I didn't know the assassin's full intentions, but even if they were after me, as long as Alexander was by my side, I had nothing to worry about. Don't put yourself down like this. You aren't responsible for what happened. We'll bring the regicide to justice. Still mortified, Alexander stayed on his knees. I could see his fingers twitch a little, proof he wasn't completely convinced, but he nodded his approval all the same, transported by the firmness of my voice. As for me, now that I said it out loud, I felt the information had settled in my mind, and I finally accepted it as truth, with a full understanding of the situation. My father, Magnus V, Emperor of Calidya, was dead. Many would have broken down after hearing such news, but for years I hadn't held an ounce of affection for him. His death was actually good news to me. Oh, damn! We're cold. It marked the beginning of a new era, a better one, I hoped. An era for which I'd been preparing ever since I'd realized this was my destiny. I was to succeed him. I was to become the empress. But it wasn't time for celebration. Although I was legitimate heir to the throne, I had plenty of detractors, and I still needed to figure out why the assassination had taken place. I had many questions about the killer's identity and motivations. I was lost in thought, and it took me a while to realize that Alden and Alexander were staring at me, worried, surely awaiting a reaction or a declaration from me. Both had known me since early childhood. They knew the enmity I held for the Emperor, and I trusted them enough to set all pretenses aside. Face customization was cast. Yeah, I mean, there is. Yeah, there's. See, I'm trying to think like that. Elden Ring, where you at least have the third the third person option versus was like Cyberpunk, where yeah, it's first person, but you do, you can see you have the option to see yourself in like mirrors and such. So at least there's that. It was perhaps a bit inappropriate to rejoice over my future title while my father's dead corpse was still warm. After taking a deep breath, I threw off my covers and got up, eyeing them. Okay, so we can rejoice, we can pretend to be sad, or we can stay neutral. Well, yeah, rejoicing would be a little bit suspicious. Mirrors working against surprising. Yeah, and I guess I can see why. Like the getting all the potential angles and what you might see in the mirror, you get that program. It'd probably be pretty difficult. We'll stay neutral. Gloating seemed a tad indecent, but I could at least spare myself the pretense of being the grieving orphan that I would surely need to be in front of the court. What I feel isn't important. You don't have to worry about me. What matters most is our nation, and we all know that the sudden death of an emperor is a delicate situation. At the moment, the most important thing is to preserve the kingdom's stability. I'm counting on you to protect and serve me. This won't be an easy task, but I'm sure we can accomplish great things. This time, Alexander got up, putting his hand on his sheath in a dignified and military posture. At your service, Highness. May the four witness my oath. I solemnly swear I will protect you until my dying breath. Emphatic, he bowed down before lifting his eyes up to me. I smiled and accepted his allegiance with a certain poise, despite my unkempt hair and my nightgown. Marjorie, my tutor, often told me that everything about me showed nobility, that I didn't need any props to act like an empress. Today, I understood what she had meant. Alden, however, didn't seem to share the general's fervor. Forgive me, Your Majesty, for tarnishing your enthusiasm, but there's a very delicate question I have to ask. Have you had your father killed? Okay, that's direct. His abrupt question threw me off, and I stared at him, wavering between surprise and indignation. How dare you even suggest such a possibility?
You're going too far, advisor. Come on now, don't be offended. You said it yourself. You've hated your father since the death of your brother. You've always held him responsible for it. And your father dies on the very day of your return to the palace? Whatever your answer is, I'll accept it, but I need to know.
I felt anger rise within me at these words, and I walked to the window to breathe some fresh air. After I took a few deep inhales, I finally turned around to face him and gave him my answer in a firm voice. On the one hand, my presence here isn't a coincidence. The Emperor celebrates, or rather was about to celebrate, his birthday in 2 ways. Half the Empire's noblemen are here.
Yes, it's undeniable that the event presented a perfect opportunity to strike. The palace is swarming with unknown guards and servants. It's much harder to provide security in these circumstances.
Exactly. On the other hand, your suspicions are an insult to my intelligence advisor. After a regicide, the heir is always suspected. If I'd really wanted to dispute a fate, you better believe I would have been smarter about it. Marjorie taught me the rules of the game. I would never risk losing everything in such a foolish way. I know my ascension to the throne will already be difficult because I'm a woman. I'll state it plainly if it can relieve your doubts, but listen closely because I will not repeat myself. No, I did not have my father assassinated. My eyes trained on him. I crossed my arms, almost daring him to contradict me as I kept a lid on my fury. Alden seemed to gauge me for a moment, then nodded in assent and apology.
Now, please forgive me, Your Grace. As soon as possible, I'll alert the Master of Murmurs and will launch an investigation to uncover the truth and bring justice to your father.
I would have preferred more vivid regrets, but under the circumstances this was enough, and I felt my anger slowly fade away. I accept your apology. Let's not speak of this again. There are more urgent things to attend to. The news will no doubt make quite a commotion.
And you've asked us to swear allegiance to you. I assume you'll try to claim your rightful place as heir, Your Grace?
Okay, so we can say I wanted to become empress, or it's my destiny. So wanted to become suggests we were eager to do it, which again might be a little suspicious. Well, although it's my destiny doesn't exactly leave a lot of wiggle room either. We'll say it's my destiny. I heaved a deep sigh and mustered all my determination to answer without leaving any doubts as to my intentions. I realized a while ago that this was my destiny. Whether I like it or not, I don't really have a choice, and I'm not one to do things half-heartedly.
I know there aren't many people in the direct line of succession, but if you don't truly want to, I believe one of your bastard brothers would do the trick.
You know full well my cousins would covet the position. This would be the start of a succession war that would drown the kingdom in fire and blood. Even if by some miracle the nobility came out in favor of one of my half-brothers, there's no guarantee it would all go well. They know nothing of politics. They'd be nothing more than puppets, or even worse, incompetent. Imagine having incompetence running your country. By birth, I have a responsibility to the people of this country, and I don't intend to shirk it. In any case, even if I were to retire to my estate to manage it, I would still be a potential threat to their reign. I'll never be safe, even if I were to completely relinquish my right to the throne. There's no doubt about it, I have to be the next empress. Only time will tell, but I think I am the best possible choice, under the circumstances.
I don't doubt that, Your Grace. In fact, I'm rather relieved to see you have already thought about it. Like you said, our country needs stability. We can't get away with a weak-willed monarch on the throne. I'm sure you'll be a wonderful Empress, Clonglet.
His words were barely a whisper, but I was sure of what I heard, and I felt my cheeks redden a little. He seemed embarrassed by his own boldness and blushed more violently than me, while I flashed him a smile to reassure him. It had been years since I last heard him call me by my name. Even if I had no doubts about my own abilities, it was always refreshing to see the trust he gave me. I cleared my throat and regained my composure so I could give my orders. This would be a long night. Who else knows about the assassination for now? Alexander seemed surprised by my question and frowned a bit while searching his mind.
When I found the body, I immediately went to warn the advisor, and both of us rushed to see you. The only ones who know about it are the guards who were patrolling with me and your father's personal maid who was passing by. We knew it would be bad to attract attention, so I had her discreetly sent to the dungeon for interrogation.
How about the guards who were stationed before my father's door?
Both are dead. I also have their corpses taken to the dungeon for examination.
I paced the room, lost deep in thought. You've done well. Now we have to keep it all a secret. It's imperative that no one else hears about it.
Brr. Your Grace. This won't be an easy secret to keep.
Obviously. We won't be able to do that forever. I only need a few days so I can stay ahead of my detractors. All of them looked thoughtful for a few moments, then nodded.
I see. So you want to act before everyone else, which should give you the upper hand.
Exactly.
Very smart. I have no doubt that some people will try to take advantage of the situation. And even if you are unquestionably the rightful heir, your place will be fought over. But if you don't give them time to react, that could make things a great deal easier.
That's what I was thinking too. I'd love it if the situation were more straightforward, but this is a little white lie, and the alternative is chaos of a wildly disputed succession. All of them nodded, and I continued, developing the rest of my plan. In the meantime, pretend His Majesty is not feeling well and investigate discreetly.
I see. I'll order my men to stay silent. I'll also ensure they haven't said a word so far. About that, it might be wiser to ensure they can't talk at all. Low-grade staff is known for its gossiping, even the guards. But my men are trustworthy. They would never disobey. Would you be willing to bet on that, if it could jeopardize the plans of your new empress, to whom you have only just sworn allegiance? Ah! And that maid, can you also guarantee she'll keep quiet?
His teeth clenched, gripping the hilt of his sword. Alexander shook his head. The weight of all his words has also fallen heavily on my shoulders. In answer, both men were contemplating my next steps.
The decision is yours to make, Your Grace, but I strongly advise you to silence them for good.
All of them was right. The most effective way to ensure someone stayed quiet was to have them killed. However, there could be other alternatives to consider. Such a decision could be taken lightly, because whatever I decided, I couldn't afford to regret it. Oh gosh! Hmm. Okay, so here's where the resources come in. Hey, map and resources. So we have people, noble. Oh, so okay, standing with the people, standing with the nobles, money, religion. Oh, we got a bonus because we're the nerd. Army, goods, and influence. Interesting. And so yeah, so this right here is the resource management. So it would cost two army to just have him killed. It can be angel devil or shoulder devil, maybe, or like the one of them is the earnest military type, and then the other is the more calculating kind of diplomatic type. Your banner is shining. Oh, is it? Okay, hang on. I think I can fix this without too much issue. Ship. There, let's try that. Imagine again the game pulls an overboard so we actually did kill our father. Well, it would be quite the twist. Apparently, since we just showed, like, if I'm reading the tea leaves here, we just showed up. Okay, so we can just say nope, have them killed. We can ensure their loyalty by promising a better position once I'm crowned, so we can use our diplomacy. They should be given a vote to ensure their allegiance, or throw money at the problem, give them a few coins, and promise them more once the secret has been revealed. And in the meantime, send them on a vacation far away from here. That should be enough to guarantee their silence. Okay. You know what? When in doubt, throw money at the problem. If there was something that Marjorie had taught me, it was the power of money. I was convinced that a few shiny coins were enough to silence them. Applying extreme methods wouldn't be necessary.
Oh, with all due respect, Your Grace, my guards won't let them be corrupted so easily.
It's not about corruption, it's rather about compensating them for their loyalty. It's just a matter of wording things correctly.
If you put it that way. In any case, it's much better than what the advisor suggested.
Alden wasn't used to opposing the decisions too openly, and he merely shrugged.
No, I'm fine with that. And I have more reservations than you do about the integrity of your guards, but that's an acceptable compromise. Time will tell if we were right. Now go inform them. You'll see, Your Grace, you've made the right decision.
Without further ado, he bowed once more and left the room with a heavy step. Alden also seemed to be lost in thought for a moment, giving me time to come to my senses before he bowed in turn.
I must at least inform the Master of Murmurs of the situation, so that we may launch an investigation.
I nodded, aware of our lead spy's discretion as well as his efficiency. The Master of Murmurs is our spy master. Okay.
Once that is done, I'll come to you to plan the rest of your ascent.
Once more, nodded in approval, glad to be offered a little interlude that would allow me to gather my thoughts, and to dress decently while I was at it. After all, even if the coronation hadn't yet taken place, deep within me, I knew it. I felt it. I was the Empress. Hey, Chapter 1, Long Live the Empress. So, spring, day 8, morning. The sun had been up for a few hours, promising a beautiful day, but I knew I wouldn't be able to appreciate it. Now that the rush of adrenaline from the news had passed, all I had left were doubts about the days to come, which were going to be exhilarating as much as terrifying. I was gambling my future, along with Calidya's, and that was a big deal. I spent the few hours readying myself and refining the details of my plan to appease my latent nervousness as best I could, but that didn't help me shake off my main preoccupation, the servants. Like Alden had said, I made a risky decision, and I had been torturing myself for hours, wondering if it was worth it. I was restless when I heard the knock, and leapt to the door, opening it for Alden and letting him in.
There, Your Grace, we have followed your orders.
I hadn't seen that he was accompanied by the Master of Murmurs, who came in after him. A slight discomfort washed over me. His role inside the palace was vital, but since I was a child, I had been terrified of his hidden face and the mysterious aura that surrounded him. Nevertheless, my discomfort turned into amazement when I saw him remove his hood as if it were nothing and turn to face me. Okay, so now we have a hot spy master. Yeah, you can definitely check. This is an otome angled game. My brain had pictured the worst for years, and it was unsettling to finally be able to put a face to the man. I realized he wasn't as monstrous as I imagined. In fact, I was so shocked it made me forget the reason for my visitor's presence, which seemed to greatly amuse the Master of Murmurs.
Is there a problem, Your Grace?
Oh, it's just I didn't know you could show your face.
To be honest, I do what I want, but in principle, I only remove my hood in the presence of my sovereign and their close collaborators. Though I like to entertain the mystery and anonymity that come with the job, it would be far too dangerous for me to reveal my face. Never to reveal my face. Some people might use that to usurp my identity.
Very villainous coded. So far. I see. Though it was disconcerting, it was also rather reassuring to see that a man as important as the Master of Murmurs already acknowledged me as his sovereign. Alden cleared his throat to recall me to my duty, and I suddenly remembered the reason for the two men's presence, which immediately made my anxiety flare up. Taking myself from staring at the master spy, I faced the advisor and fully focused on him. Did everything go well? My anxiety must have been conspicuous, even if I was doing my best to put on a confident expression.
The servants seem convinced by your offer. They left the palace without complaining, so I suppose we can count that as a win. Despite all that, it's still a bit to be sure of anything. I gave the Master of Murmurs and Alexander the task of keeping a close eye on the situation.
The Master of Murmurs? This guy gotta have a name. I'm not gonna keep calling him the Master of Murmurs. Anyway, that guy slowly nodded in assent.
We'll know more tomorrow, but for the time being, there's nothing more to report.
I lifted my eyes to meet my advisor's, and flashed all in a reassuring smile. Clearly he had read my emotions better than I thought, and I couldn't allow myself to visibly waver at such a critical time. I know that, and what's done is done. Now we must focus on the future. Bring the High Priest to the council room. I need him to contact the Quadrator.
Robert is a pious man. Are you sure it's a good idea to confide in him?
Everyone likes to think that the devout never lie, but one doesn't obtain a place like his without cheating a little. Barnaby, you say the master murmur the. I admit the idea of lying to him came to me for a fleeting moment, but to fool him would be a complex task, and I'll be needing his support when the time comes. The people put great stock in men of faith.
Very well, Your Majesty. Will that be all?
Yes, thank you. Oh, that. Oh, that looks painful. Okay, this must be the quadrator, Andromacos.
You summon me, Your Grace?
Yes, thank you for coming, Robert. I gestured for him to sit down, while I settled behind my father's imposing desk. Like I predicted, my behavior made him lift a curious brow, but I pretended not to notice. I won't beat around the bush. My father, the Emperor, died during the night. Clearly, we'd done a pretty good job of keeping that a secret, since the shock on his face seemed genuine.
Why? But how? And why am I just learning about it now? I need to pray for his soul.
I tried to appease him with a wave of my hand, inviting him to sit back down, since he looked like he was about to get up. He was murdered. For the time being, we're keeping his death a secret so we can investigate without causing any sort of panic. It was the master. It was Mu's idea. He's convinced we'll be able to find the assassin more easily this way. Drowning in information, the high priest slumped into his chair and took in my half-truths, while I assumed a saddened expression. It truly is a tragic situation. Keeping quiet and hiding my mourning is a very hard task for me. I know it's a lot to ask of you, but you need to keep this a secret. I want to do everything in my power to uncover the murderer, especially since I'm scared he could come after me. Once more, I was quite proud of the quivers in my voice, and my acting seemed to be effective since I saw a spark of compassion light up in his eyes.
Now I understand now why the general was guarding your door like a common soldier.
With a closed expression on my face, I nodded, searching for the right words. The first and main reason I've summoned you here is so that I could confide in you and ask you to pray for my departed father's soul.
Now, of course, Your Majesty. I'll lock myself up in the great temple and dedicate myself to the task.
My face still sad. I gave him a tight, grateful smile, but inside I felt relieved. His prayers should keep him busy enough that he wouldn't be tempted to reveal everything. Now I could move on to the true reason of his presence here. But before that, this saddens me, but I have another favor to ask of you.
Why, of course, Your Grace. What is it?
Well, Alden and I are afraid that all the upstarts across the kingdom will rush to the castle and try to usurp the throne as soon as my father's death is made public. In their greed, many forget that my line sits on the throne by the grace of the Four. So, I'd like to send a letter to the Quadrator and have him support my coronation as well as reaffirm my legitimacy. Okay, so he's the High Priest, but he's our conduit to the Quadrator. Once more, he stayed silent, and I tried to hide my worry behind a veil of sadness. I hated that my plans depended on a single person, but I didn't have a choice. Only rulers and high priests could hope to quickly reach the ultimate leader of the cardinals, and I technically wasn't empress yet.
I understand, yes. You're Magnus V's only legitimate child. That throne should be yours. That said, I don't know if the Quadrator will approve of your advent. Perhaps if you were married, your candidacy would seem less inappropriate.
I felt my body tense up at his words, and it took all I had to conceal how irritated I was by this reminder. I knew I would be told such things. I had mentally prepared myself for it, but obviously it hadn't been enough. It is an issue, yes, and I'll do my best to find a fitting husband quickly. But you'll agree, I cannot entrust the throne of Calidya to just anyone. I have plenty of suitors, but I need some time to study each and every one of them. That's not something that can be done in just a couple days, or even weeks. In the meantime, we do need someone to lead the country and make sure it doesn't sink into chaos. And if a regent were to be appointed, I'm afraid he might refuse to give the throne back to me and my husband, which would lead to the whole country to a bloodbath. No one wants to see another area of murderous plots like during Magnus III's time.
Ah, you are right, your grace. We cannot let such tragedy befall us. I'll go write a letter to the Quadrator right away and to express support for your coronation and explain our situation.
Satisfied, I let out a sigh of relief. I thank you for your support, High Priest Robert. It means a lot to me. Swiftly, I opened one of the desk drawers and pulled out a thin, sealed letter. While I was waiting for you, I humbly wrote a few words destined for the Quadrator. We've never met, and I hoped this would help him get to know me a little, as well as reassure him of my faith in the Four. I was thinking that perhaps you'd be so kind as to add it to your own correspondence? Once more, he seemed to be caught off guard, but he smiled instantly and enthusiastically.
Why, of course, your majesty. That's a great idea.
Relieved, I gave him the letter in question, while thanking him once more for his support and his help in these unprecedented times. I only hoped he didn't have the audacity to break the seal, because even if it did contain a few cliches on my virtues, the letter mostly made promises that could actually motivate the Quadrator. Here you go. So, we can promise a hefty donation, which would cost us 3 monies. Oh, wait, did it? Oh, okay, so it's not infinite resources, but I think they started at right around 1,000, so the game is assuming there's no way you're going to spend that much during the demo. Or, being truly pious myself, I have been corresponding with eminent scholars from Calidya and Meridian, and by sheer luck I discovered that 2 of them were con men. I was sure that should I reveal their names, the Quadrator would see that my faith was sincere, and that I was happy to be of service to him in complete secrecy. And this would only cost us 2 faith, because we're the nerd. So we're gonna, so it's leaning into our build, so to speak, and it's some sneaky shit. So let's do it. In the past, keeping my mouth shut and letting these charlatans run free had been quite hard to stomach. But Marjorie had taught me that it was important to play my cards in the right order. Today, I can only thank her for her advice, which would allow me to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. To play with a man as powerful as the Quadrator, and I wasn't talking about his possible connection to the gods, but his actual worldly power, was a risky move, but it was all worth it. The dice have been cast. I can only hope for things to go well, and to prepare the field for my conquest of the Calidyan nobility. Okay, same day, evening. Despite my desire to act, for the time being I couldn't do anything but wait for the Quadrator's answer. Even if the letter had left that very morning, Meridian was far away, and I knew I couldn't hope for an answer for at least 3 days. I had to chomp at the bit and act naive. No, you had to champ at the bit. My first thought was to mingle with the court so I could clear my head, but then pretending that nothing was up and feeding rumors to justify my father's absence was more frustrating than doing nothing. Even Marjorie's presence irritated me. Despite her advanced age, as she turned her inquisitive eyes upon me, I had the impression she managed to perceive the truth. And so I'd taken refuge in the library, hoping to read a little. But in all honesty, even if I managed to unscramble a few words, my thoughts were far away, and my mind was replaying the events of the previous night. Asking myself again and again if I had done the right thing.
Your Grace, forgive me for bothering you during your readings, but we have more news about the witnesses.
Despite the mystery shrouded in his words, I knew exactly what he was referencing, and that was enough for me to pull me out of my boring book. With a glance, I surveyed the library to make sure we were fully alone, before motioning for him to continue. I'm listening. What's going on?
Just as I feared, the few gold coins we gave the servants weren't enough. One of them, a soldier named Brunhin, has understood the value of his secret and is now trying to blackmail us.
It was a possibility I hadn't considered. To my greatest shame, I didn't think they'd be cunning enough to know the value of this important secret. Okay, now we have them killed. We can consider ourselves lucky that he still hasn't tried to sell that information to any of our political enemies. I'm sure the Baron of Levallois, for example, would have paid a good price to get his hands on it. And I gather we don't have many options. Oh, yeah. I gather we don't have many options. No, we don't indeed. Neither we pay up or we make sure to shut him up, for good this time. I would have liked to protest, but seeing how my own methods had failed, I couldn't well take offense when he'd offered such a drastic solution. The only upside is if we pay up, he won't be able to indefinitely blackmail us. In a few days, I'll have the Quadrator's answer, and my father's death will be officially announced. His words won't have any value from there on out. There's one of the positives, indeed. Even if I'm wary of everything he could demand in a few days, people tend to be excessively greedy. Could we just lock him up until things go back to normal? That's an option, but he tried to rally all the guards and the prisoners in the dungeon if we were to arrest him under false pretenses. And if we were to kidnap him and we release him, I doubt it'd be great optics for us. When you laid it out like that, in fairness, it was obviously a bad idea. Only my first two options remained, and none of them really appealed to me. Is he asking a lot? Well, like I said, he's understood the worth of his secret, but fortunately for us, he's not used to the same order of magnitude as we are. The sum he requests is still reasonable. But once again, I would advise you against it. Showing weakness at this stage could turn out to be fatal in the long run. Okay. So, I tried being a pacifist, but he wants to double cross me. I got no choice. Then we spend some Diplo and some army. Now, it is soldier, so Alexander, our puppy dog boy, would be a little upset with us if we went through with it. Or we can pay a lot of money. Or we can try to intimidate him. No, I'm sorry. If he, yeah, Brady B, I'm with you. If he's done it once, he'll keep doing it. So I mean, I'd say I'm sorry, but I'm not. You chose the path. You crossed the crown, and well, you're going down. Oh, we got an achievement. Murder solves everything. Choose to kill someone to solve a problem. Well, rip Bozo. All that approved. Clearly glad I'd finally decided to use his methods. You're doing the right thing, Your Grace. I'll go inform the master murmurs of your decision, and I'll make sure everything is done with the utmost discretion. I hope so. If it came to be known that I assassinate my subjects, that wouldn't be the best advertisement for my rule. Worry not. Consider the problem solved. I'm counting on you, Alden. In lieu of an answer, he bowed once more before exiting the room. His attitude as professional as ever, leaving me alone with my doubts. Hey, don't start none, won't be none. It was already late when the knocked on my door to inform me of the evolution of the situation. Despite the late hour, I hadn't managed to close my eyes at all, as I anxiously waited to hear about the assassination. I knew well these were common in the murky waters in which I now swam, but it was my first time, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there were so many variables that could turn against me. The took us time to start talking, and I lost my patience. So how did it go? Well, we can say we reached our goal. The blackmailer's dead. Unfortunately, he had the foresight to bring reinforcements, but jumped on our agents. We managed to overcome them and eliminated all witnesses, but we lost two worthy men in the fight. Relieved the ordeal was over, I sympathized with the Why did that guard have to be so greedy? Things would have been far easier if he hadn't tried to take advantage of the situation. I am truly sorry about your men. We'll throw a ceremony in their honor once this is all over. The shook his head with a melancholic smile. Now don't worry. They were the sort of men who live in the shadows. They'd have hated a public remembrance. On that note, if you'll allow me, I have many tasks left to accomplish. Of course. He bowed, I remained alone with myself, and I couldn't stop wondering at victory, and how bitter it sometimes tasted. Okay, so we should have just killed the fuck out of him from the start. Or skipping ahead a couple days. Okay. Your Grace, this is a little premature, but should you become Empress, you will need to manage the kingdom's policies, and I'd like to make sure that you're ready for such a task. Hey, you know what? One can always learn more. As you already know, the kingdom's policies influence how your subjects, noble and otherwise, view you, but also what resources will be available to us. You can set tax rates for the people and the nobility. As you may have guessed, the higher they are, the less happy the people will be, but the faster the coffers will fill up. But there are many other things much more subtle. For example, you can decide how open to trade our borders should be, or which sectors of the economy you'd like to focus on. We must also consider how to protect ourselves from our neighbors, especially bearing in mind Vargas's warlike inclinations. But maintaining an army is very, very expensive. As such, investing in diplomacy may offer better results in the long run. And finally, we have to manage the priests. Their influence on the people is immense, and they have infrastructures all over the nation. Offerings made to them are never wasted. And we've set up regular periods of time during which we collect earnings, but there will be a short delay before the consequences of any changes you can be seen. Yeah, policy lag is always a thing. Okay, story alternates between phases of gameplay between two scenes. During these phases, you'll be able to, among other things, modify your kingdom's general policies. Gains will be distributed at the end of the gameplay phase. Is that clearer? Sure. Yes, even if it's all very theoretical. That's true, but the best way to approach the subject in a more concrete manner is to look into it yourself. Even if I'm only doing this work after my coronation, may I try my hand at it now? I'm sure there are things I'd like to change in my father's policies. Okay, so right now, oh yeah, so this is the resource management that they were talking about. Yeah. So I don't. I mean, I'm not an experienced visual novel player, so I don't know. Maybe this happens more frequently than I think, but this is I appreciate having this kind of I mean, you guys know me. You see me play Stardew Valley. You know I love a good min maxing. Let's see. Okay, so taxes. We can moderate. People will understand. You know, if you have a moderate amount of money, +2. Happy people, but actually, money only goes down by 1. Or we go high. People will be angry. Ooh, big angry, but money will flow endlessly. It's like plus. Or we can gain with the people. Yeah, it's a difference of 1, but obviously that'll add up over time. Seems like their gimmick. I see you're seeing this other VNs. Yeah, I would say it's a. What I would say. Here's the thing. I appreciate that it's there, but I also appreciate that they give you the option to, like, you can make it an important part, or you can just set it and forget it. See, offerings. So -2 money plus religion. We can say the people won't. Yeah, the priests turn against us, but the money drain goes down, or we can go high. Big money drain, but the people will love us. Let's see, trade. So goods -1, money +2. The nobility don't like us restricting trade, but the money's slightly down, but we don't lose we keep our goods. Or we have goods go down, but the nobility's happy. We get more money. Let's go free trade, baby. Okay, see economy. So right now we have focus on exploiting raw resources. So the people don't like it, but we get goods and money. We can go crafts. The nobility will like it. The money is better, but we don't get as many goods. Or we go farming. Big goods, big people like, not much money coming in. I don't know, more money, and that balances out the loss of the people, and the nobles aren't into us. Let's see. So we can dismantle the army, but it'll be cheaper to maintain. I don't know about that. We can just keep it as is, or we can expand. You know, this in games like these, this is what I always ignore. Maybe we'll do that, and then diplomacy. We go. Also, ambassador when necessary. Yeah, the nobles don't like that. We can spend, if cordial diplomacy, at least one ambassador to each neighboring country, or you'll send a full delegation to all countries. Lots of influence. Spending more money, but the nobility freaking love us, man. And you know what? I'm going to throw in a tax cut. Now, granted, our money's going to be flat. In the actual game, that would be an issue. But again, we're playing. We're playing fast and loose. We're playing for funsies. Yes, we're going like maximum wish casting here. We're basically we're spending lavishly and we're bringing in low tax. We're this that rare low tax high service economy. That sounds most excellent to me. Okay, got little pop-ups there. Okay, dawn had barely risen when I heard a kerfuffle at the door, and I immediately recognized Robert's voice. I got up with a groan and quickly slipped on a dress, trying to make myself presentable before opening the door. High priest, what's going on? I tried to remain as neutral as possible, but I was burning up with a mix of anxiety and excitement, so I had a solid guess as to what this was about. The Quadrador, he answered, Your Majesty. He handed me 2 letters bearing the recognizable seal of His Holiness. Your name is written on them. I didn't dare open them, Your Highness. Exhilarated, I looked at the 2 pieces of paper that were about to seal my future. One seemed official, while the other was explicitly for my eyes only. I would have liked to be alone when reading them both, but clearly it had taken Robert all he had not to break the wax seal on the official letter, and now he stared at me impatiently. My throat was dry as I grabbed a paper cutter to open the correspondence. My heart was beating so fast I had the impression everyone in the room could hear it. Let's see. What does a quadrator sound like? As Lady Cronglet of Terrinville, daughter of Magnus the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of Terrinville the Fierce, Emperor of Calidya. Therefore I have spoken, and have recognized you as a legitimate heir of the crown of Calidya by virtue of your blood and despite your gender. By this decree I convey the word of the gods, may your governance be respected by all the just and the pious. May your rule prosper and never stray from the false faith. Vermeer, Quadrator by the grace of the fall. I was shaking so hard I felt my legs give in, and I had to sit on the bed so I didn't fall over. I had done everything in my power to make this moment happen, but now that it was upon me, I was engulfed by all the emotions I had accumulated in the past week. Robert seemed to understand, and he bowed to leave me a few long seconds so I could take in the Quadrator's words. Finally, he spoke it up. Why, that's marvelous, Your Majesty. I knew the four would acknowledge your legitimacy. Almost timidly, I nodded and tried to recover my usual composure. With the Quadrator's support, my coronation was sure to happen, but that didn't mean I was rid of enemies or other contenders. I couldn't let my guard down just yet. Yes, this time has come for everyone to know the truth. Or the time has come for everyone to know the truth. Gather the nobles in the castle at dawn, and prepare the pigeons. He nodded, a grave expression on his face. Yeah, we can't wait any longer. The secret of your father's death couldn't have been kept indefinitely in any case. It was true his absence had been going for a while, and a possible illness worried people just as much as a possible death. It was fortunate those letters hadn't taken too long to arrive. I'll be there. I need to finish getting ready. Why, of course, your majesty. I'll have the bells rung, but at such an early time I don't suppose we can gather everyone in less than an hour. I approved with a polite nod, and soon I watched him leave and close the door. Finally on my own, I collapsed on the bed and let myself gloat. I whooped in pure childish joy as I read the Quadrator's letter over and over again. See, I thought we were supposed to be reluctant. I knew that I had plenty of challenges ahead of me, but this was my first victory against traditions, and I intended to savor it for as long as I could. Only after a few long minutes had passed did I decide to open the second letter, which was addressed to me personally. Lady Cronglette, your message came to me as a surprise. Even if I'm always wary of gossip, I still requested that inquisitors investigate the people you've mentioned. To my astonishment, your allegations are found to be correct, and the impostors have been stripped of their titles of scholars as well as their riches. It warms my heart to know that the throne of Calidya is in the hands of a pious and clairvoyant empress. I am personally praying for your rule's prosperity. Farewell, quantitated by the grace of the four. Happy with my decision, I sighed and carefully put the letter away into my desk. Pretty promises were easy to forget. I could perhaps use the parchment to remind him of his support one day, or to show some reluctant noble just how popular I was with one of the most powerful men on the continent. In any case, I believe my actions had managed to sway him, and I was quite proud of that. So, yeah, we could have splashed the cash, but if we're going to lean into our nerdery, and if our nerdery covers the scope of theology, we might as well lean into it. Now it was the court I had to sway, and I knew this wasn't going to be an easy task. Oh, okay. Oh, I think this might be our. I forget. She hasn't even got a title. Like the lady, our handmaiden, other advice. I don't know. Make sure not to overexert yourself, Clonglet. You're spending your days locked up in this office. You should get out a bit to clear your head. Come take a walk with this old lady. Marjorie, that's it. Oh, okay. Marjorie is much more healthy looking than I expected. I left the door open, and although I hadn't heard Marjorie come over to me, I wasn't surprised, since her perfume, which she applied too liberally, had filled the room. I almost felt nostalgic for a moment. Contrary to what she seemed to suggest, I wasn't here for pleasure. I was overwhelmed. Invitations, solicitations, promises. I spent the last 3 days flattering Calidyan nobility to ensure nothing would interfere with the coronation in 3 weeks' time, and I still had a lot to do. Oh, perhaps you can fool everyone else, but I know you're far from being an old lady, Marjorie. My reply made her laugh, a hoarse and joyous sound that belied what I had just said. Okay, maybe we'll try to. We'll try to. No, I still have the same quick wit when I was 20, but I'm afraid my wine and bones disagree with you, sweetheart. Come on, don't be cruel. You already broke my poor heart when you didn't let me in on the secret. I put my quill down with a sigh and closed the inkwell, hoping its content would not dry out. She had taught me many things, and even if I had to go stronger than her in a few areas, it was obvious she still used guilt like no one else. She almost made me feel bad for hiding my father's death from her. You know full well I didn't have a choice. The information had to be disclosed to as few people as possible. No, I know, sweetheart, but I would have liked to be there for you. These past few days mustn't have been easy. No, they weren't indeed. As promised, I quietly walked by Marjorie's side through the garden, but we couldn't take one step before some servant or noble offered me their condolences. I'm so tired of pretending to be sad. How I know your father was a flawed man. She paused, looking at me as she seemed to hesitate to say something. I looked at her, intrigued. There was so much contempt in her voice when she spoke of his flaws that she obviously knew something about him, something I probably didn't. But no matter what anyone says, he was your family, your blood. You shouldn't hate him like that. It's not healthy, especially now that he's dead. I sensed from her tone that I'd get nothing more from her, at least not today, and I didn't insist, draping myself once again in my indignity. No, that's too easy. You can't just die and expect all of your mistakes will be forgiven. Well, it's not as if he chose to die, and so that doesn't change anything. She sighed, and then decided to change the subject before I had to listen to another lecture on the importance of family bonds. But since we're speaking of forgiveness, I need your help. Suspicious, she frowned, although she kept walking calmly between the flower beds. Excuse me. I would like it if you gave me Fire Castle. That old dilapidated fortress? Well, what for? Pretending to admire some insects that were flying around the planters, I hesitated for a second. I needed the fortress to buy the Faram's loyalty, but Marjorie held a deep hatred for them. I didn't like lying to her, but I couldn't run the risk that she'd refuse my request. Okay. I have a feeling that even if we try if we tried to be sneaky with Marjorie knows us. I feel like if we tried to pull the wool over her eyes, it would not go well. Yeah, we'll be, and we've already lied to her before, and she didn't particularly appreciate that. We'll be straight with her. I need it because I'm going to give it back to the Faram. Upon hearing my words, Marjorie froze, trembling with anger. You want to give it back to those vile traitors? Do you know how many men died storming it? Do you know what this fortress cost me? I knew she would react that way. Even though the war ended about 20 years ago, she still bore painful memories of it. Yes, I know all that. But it all took place before my birth. It's time we move forward and reconcile with the Faram, lest we repeat the mistakes of the past. I don't want another Faram revolt under my rule. I need their support for my coronation, and to obtain that support, I need Fire Castle. You know just as well as I do, it's only a ruin now, an old pile of rubble left on steep and barren land. It's nothing more than a symbol. My old aunt grumbled for a few long minutes, but she was forced to concede my point, even if it cost her. I'll do what you want, but believe me, once you become empress, I'll call in the favor. Thank you, Marjorie. I knew I could count on you. Relieved, I finally let out the breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. Knowing the affection Marjorie held for me, I knew that I'd end up convincing her, but as I had a meeting with the Faram heir in 4 days, I didn't have a lot of room for errors. With one less issue weighing on my heart, I continued my walk with a bounce in my step, forgetting for a minute the court's problems and plots. Okay, so sir, we're whipping through this. Oh, well, hello, another dark and swarthy gentleman. We seem to have no end of them in, in this story. I hope there are some female love interests as well. In fact, so as much as we're talking about like the not wanting to be hemmed in by our gender, we if we're going like the full villainess arc, we should have some Yuri options. It's just it just feels right. We can have very close friends or roommates if you prefer, quote unquote. This was my first time meeting Theodore of Farang. I had heard him described as a cold and distant man, but I still didn't expect him to be so glacial. I waited for him to deign reply to my greeting, as courtesy demanded, but the silence between us was deafening. He only stood there, staring at me, impassive, without so much as a good morning or a nice to meet you, while I had to keep smiling not to lose face. I had better things to do than engage in a staring contest. Consequently, I swallowed my pride and gestured to one of the chairs around the staff table, where a large map of Calidya had been laid out. I imagine you must be tired after such a long trip. Please sit down. I thought he was going to stay standing there, but he finally did sit down without another word, while I took a seat not too far from him. Like I said in my letter, I'd like for the Terranville and Faram to reconcile. The tensions between the two families have lasted long enough, and God, I'm gonna run out of voices here.
Well, I imagine your sudden desire to make peace has nothing to do with your upcoming coronation. The mantle yet are eating out of your hand, but the Voildor will never support you, which means you very much need us.
Coming as he was from a lineage with a somewhat barbaric reputation, he had done a fairly clever analysis of the situation, but I didn't let that stop me. Very much need is a bit strong. Should I remind you that I have the support of the Order, and by extension the Four? The people will follow me. That said, I do wish for my coronation to go as smoothly as possible, and the rest of my rule as well. I'd like to avoid bloodshed altogether if possible, and I fear that the ancestral enmity between our two families might lead us to just that. Neither you nor I were born when the Faram Revolt took place. It's up to us to decide if we want to perpetuate the cycle of conflict or if we want to build something new. He took on a thoughtful expression and observed me with renewed interest.
Well, it's easy for you to forget. You're on the side of the victors. You haven't been rehashing your resentment for 20 years.
Precisely. Wouldn't it be easier for you to forget as well, especially if it's been haunting you for that long?
Well, even if we were inclined to consider your offer of reconciliation, how could we trust you? I won't give you a history lesson, but that revolt didn't happen for nothing.
He was following me exactly where I was leading, and it took me some effort to repress a smile and keep a businesslike countenance. Firstly, I'm not the same person as my father or my grandfather. It's unfair to distrust me as a result of their actions. And secondly, I'm ready to make a gesture of goodwill if the Faram are ready to make one as well.
I'm listening.
If you openly support my ascent to the throne, I'm ready to return to your family the Fire Castle Citadel and the lands that go with it. This time I say with the true surprise in his eyes when I handed him the deed I had taken the time to prepare. As you know, it was confiscated after the revolt, since it's located at a strategic crossroads between Terranville and Montalet. I thought it would be a strong gesture to return it to you, but also quite a symbol of trust. After glancing over the signed pledge, Theodore looked at me once more, with defiance this time.
Well, there's no doubt my family will appreciate the gesture.
I was already basking in my victory when he continued, his voice cold.
But as for me, it only makes me see you're one of those politicians ready to use every dirty trick in the book that will get you what you want.
I mean, yeah.
I have been warned that you're the rightful heir of the snake who used to lead the Montalet, but now I'm seeing it with my own eyes. So yeah, we will accept your offer and support your coronation. But, because unlike you, we stick to our word. But you should know you're not fooling me. Now we're men of the palace to make sure you don't stab us in the back once you've achieved your goals.
In the end, his analysis of the situation, or indeed of my character, wasn't as clever as I had thought. I was ambitious, there's no denying that. I wasn't shy about it either, but my desire to make peace was just as sincere. Stay at the castle if you wish. Dukes are welcome here at any time, but you'll get eaten alive by the court if you always speak your mind so plainly, my lord. He shrugged condescendingly before getting up.
No, I'm very capable of defending myself, Majesty. I just choose not to use the same venom you do. That doesn't mean I don't know how to protect myself from a sting.
No one liked being called a snake, but even if it was unpleasant to be treated with such hostility by someone to whom I had never done anything, I had gotten what I wanted. I didn't wish to risk making him change his mind by starting an argument. Time will tell. I do hope you'll change your mind about me, but as long as the Faram uphold their end of the bargain, you're free to think whatever you like.
Oh, don't say that as you were doing me a favor, Your Grace. Even empresses don't have a dominion over people's thoughts.
And to keep me from having the last word of our pointless sparring, he immediately turned on his heel and slammed the door. Furious, I was engaged in deep breathing exercise when Alden walked in.
How did things go with Theodora Fram?
I shrugged with a sigh. I suppose it was all right. At least the Faram should support my coronation. That's all that matters. How about you? Did you manage to convince Leon? Leon? Okay, it's a he.
As you suspected, he's not inclined to support you, but apparently he and his brother fear Calidya will become a second Assyria.
I raised my eyes to the sky, not hiding my exasperation in these words. As if it were enough for a woman to lead the empire for us to become a matriarchy. Oh god, not a matriarchy. How terrible. Have you at least convinced him not to openly oppose the coronation?
Yes, as you suggested, I implied that a civil war wouldn't be good for business, and that you were easy to manipulate.
Was that enough?
Yes and no. The man's smarter than I thought. He took this as the opportunity to claim the position of the treasurer.
Treasurer? Look at him go.
Since he believes you're incompetent, he thinks that's the only way for him to ensure the country stays on the right track, and that the Voyaldor's economical interests are preserved.
Upset, I bit my lips while I pondered the implications of such domination. I didn't want him to stand in my way at every council meeting, but there was no valid reason for me to refuse him this privilege either. I imagine before asking for that position, he encouraged the current treasurer to retire.
No, that's correct. That pretty house by the seaside is waiting for him, and now he can't wait to be gone.
I imagine we don't have a choice then.
Now summon Leon tomorrow and pretend to be a naive
I'll summon Leon tomorrow and pretend to be a naive ingenue who's happy to let him take on big responsibilities. I sighed heavily, and Alden stepped towards me with a discreetly amused smile.
Now you're sure you'll manage?
Manage?
Playing the easily influenced ingenue?
I sighed, offering him a reassuring smile. It would not be fun having tea with such a conservative man, but there was nothing insurmountable about it. Oh, don't worry about me. I can play dumb when I need to. I spent my whole life appearing less dangerous than I really am. I should be able to pretend, just this once. He might have some nasty surprises down the line, however. He nodded with a gleam of pride in his eyes.
I trust you then.
Yeah, Alden could be. He seems like the guy is one of those potentially powerful allies who could very easily stab you in the back if he ever had the notion to do so.
Your Grace, news of your nomination to the throne has spread quickly. We've received a letter addressed to you from Queen Maeva of Assyria. Oh, my respects, Empress of Calidya. I wish to write to you so I can congratulate you on your recent nomination to the throne, as well as offer my condolences for your father's death. Assuming power is a heavy responsibility, but I have been told that you are very capable, and I know that Calidya is in good hands. Calidya and Assyria have always maintained solid diplomatic relations. I hope that they will continue, nay, prosper under your rule. Up until now, the matriarchs have always been opposed to non-commercial negotiations, but your nomination has made them curious. We dare to believe that in your presence, my emissaries and myself will cease to be subjected to the patronizing condescension that your predecessors had invariably displayed, and that made my country's pastoralists so wary of further interactions.
Oh, so Assyria is just a straight-up matriarchy. Wow. How about that? Speaking of stuff you don't see in games every so often.
The gods whisper to me that your ascension to the throne signals the dawn of a new era for the continent. Therefore, I wish to support you as much as I can. With the matriarch's assent, I have decided to mandate an emissary whose role will be to liaise between our two nations. Her name is Asha Isavis. She is an exceptional woman who, I hope, will be welcomed into your palace as she deserves. With all my sympathy, Maeva, Queen of Assyria.
Oh, that's wonderful news. I'll need as many allies as possible during my rule.
Indeed. Diplomacy is a delicate art, but it's fundamental for Calidya's prosperity. You'll need to woo the neighboring countries and ensure their goodwill towards us.
Yeah, you could very well be right, Brady. This might be our. It feels weird, especially well. Again, it is at least styled an otome game, so I guess in that sense, the fact that they're giving us one option for for the Yuri, I suppose we should be grateful. I don't know, but more would be nice. Okay, diplomacy not available in the demo.
But we'll talk about that later. For now, we have a coronation to organize.
Ooh, we fancy. Okay, for good reason. The big day had finally come. Impatient and nervous, I paced my bedroom while checking my hair and outfit for the umpteenth time. Nothing was easy, as per usual. I was supposed to display poise, elegance, and grandeur, all while remaining humble. All right then. Despite all that, I felt ready and dignified, and I only waited to hear from Alexander, who would escort me, since my father wasn't in a state to do so. Time was passing at an infuriatingly slow pace when he finally knocked and walked into the room, clad in his ceremonial attire. That armor and pompous cape that came with it didn't suit him, and I suppressed a smile when I saw him squeezed into it.
We're ready, Your Grace.
Almost timidly, I nodded while he politely bowed to let me pass in front of him. Then he followed suit, respectfully walking one step behind.
Her Grace, Krogler de Terrenfell, Princess of Calidya, Duchess of Terrenfell, Lady of Vermont.
Hey, Vermont mentioned.
Blessed by Amatera.
I closed my eyes and savored this title that I was hearing for the last time. When the herald would announce me next, I would be Empress of Calidya. Okay, I think we've seen everyone but this fella here. We got the murmur. Oh, there's someone back there. Not sure who that is. We got our auntie. We got our advisor. We got our bodyguard, I guess. We got the high priest. We got the jerk face, and then someone else we haven't met. I didn't remember having ever seen the throne room this packed. Clearly, when I had been told the entire castle had been gathered here, it wasn't an exaggeration. To try and hide my nervousness, I walked at a slow pace, my head held high, my eyes level at the throne. But my curiosity slowly got the better of me, and while I tried to remain as dignified as I could, I let my grace wander my gaze wandered discreetly in search of familiar faces. Alden, of course, stood right next to my throne, his face impassive, but his eyes bright enough that I could see the pride reflected in them. Robert was there too, my future crown already held in his hands. He did his best to appear as imposing as his function required him to be. Oh, Irio. In the nobles section, I recognized Leon. Oh, this is Leon. This is the guy who doesn't like us. I recognized Leon of Voildor. Oh, this guy gives me the treasurer. Surrounded by his family, conversing with other nobles who were vaguely familiar to me. To my surprise, I also spotted Theodore leaning as his pillar, his gloomy aura, seeming to hold people at bay, so that he wasn't drowning in the unknown faces. Okay, this is going to be our Sebastian, our Sasuke figure. You know, the brooding, emotionally distant option. As I passed by her, Marjorie gave me a smile, and I felt her perfume reach me, calming me, despite its loud scent. Finally, the last step stretched before me, and I suddenly realized I couldn't hear the crowd's hubbub anymore. The only sound was my heart beating in my temples. Ceremoniously, I knelt in front of this throne that was still forbidden to me. Soon I had cause to praise whoever had the brilliant idea to place a small cushion under my knees. The blessings were proceeding at an infuriatingly slow pace. I listened to them with only half an ear, but I still displayed my most serious and focused face to honor the solemnity of the ceremony. The day before, Robert asked me if I wanted to celebrate tradition by taking the name of one of my predecessors, or if I'd rather start my own dynasty. Ooh, okay. Okay, so we can be our own empress, or we can maybe as a sop to the conservatives. Leon. We can honor our ancestors. We can be Melisandre II. You know what? Let's also the okay. Yeah, I know. I am. I will always be Kronglet in my heart. I was proud of who I was, but honoring tradition was important. And I had always greatly admired Melisandre of Terranville, Queen of Terranville and first Empress of Calidya. Certainly she had lived in her husband's shadow, but she never fully retreated behind him, and she wielded her influence and her determination in many an occasion. She was a role model and an inspiration for me, and so I was proud to carry her name. I didn't know the sermon by heart, but I knew it would soon be ending since the whole place seemed to grow livelier. With each passing second, both the crowd and Robert's voice vibrated with renewed excitement until the key moment came. I closed my eyes and braced myself for the weight of the surprisingly light crown that he delicately placed upon my head. Rise up, Melisandre II of Terranfell, Empress of Calidya, Duchess of Terranfell, Lady of Vermont, chosen by the four and blessed by Amatera. You shall bow no longer, since from this day until your death, in the name of the gods, I entrust you with the charge of guiding your subject and making Calidya sign. Burn of as you come! Slowly, I rose and turned around to sit on that throne that had always been meant for me. Then I opened my eyes to look at the crowd. It suddenly went quiet, and an almost religious silence settled in for a few seconds. Long live Empress Melisandre II! Alexander's voice resounded next to me, oddly loud, and as it shattered this almost dreamlike moment, cheers arose from all sides in a spectacular chaos. Oh, there! This must be our emissary, our future roommate. The general enthusiasm was contagious, and I caught myself smiling and waving at the crowd with a bit too much vigor. The party was in full swing, and if I was still beaming, my head was starting to hurt with the incessant solicitations of people coming to pay their respects. You should empty this glass into a flower pot and ask one of the servants to pour you grape juice instead. Or maybe I'd had too much wine. If I was being honest, I couldn't remember how many times my glass had been refilled. But one thing I knew, it had never stayed empty. Even if Marjorie was probably right, I pouted. Oh, come on, Marjorie. Am I not allowed to have a bit of fun? It is my coronation day, after all. She shook her head with a tender smile. You can't do this precisely because it's your coronation day, sweetheart. Some people might be subtler about it than others, but everyone is watching you and judging you. She was right, and I knew it. I let myself relax perhaps a bit too much, carried away by my enthusiasm. That didn't stop me from heaving a deep sigh of despair. Well, I didn't come here to coddle you. I know you're perfectly capable of managing the situation. I just wanted to congratulate you. No one deserves a title more than you, and you'll make an incredible empress. Her face sparkled with pride and affection, and I felt my heart melt under her praise. Her opinion had always mattered a lot to me, and I felt myself go back to the little girl I once was, who always sought her approval. I hesitated for a second, but finally I let myself gently hug her, making sure not to spill my glass on her in the process. Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you for everything. She kindly stroked my hair, and I stayed in the embrace for a few moments, just long enough to regain control of my emotions, which were threatening to make me cry. She gently patted my back to remind me of my duties, and I finally let go of her, my face now wearing a more neutral expression. Go on, sweetheart. I won't keep you any longer. People are queuing to talk to you. She was right. As much as they tried to hide it, many people stood nearby, waiting for an opportunity to pounce on me as soon as I'd be free. The quickest to the mark was a young woman I'd never seen before. One look at the pretty dreadlocks she sported, decorated with a small golden jewels, told me her background. Yeah, I would say that is a very nice outfit. Magnificent coronation, Your Grace? Her melodious accent convinced me I was right. And I flashed her a courteous smile. Thank you. Lady Asha, are you not? She seemed surprised for a second, then her face lit up. Okay, if she needs a melodious accent. So, let's see, what can I do? Well, I'm flattered you recognize me before I can even introduce myself. I don't know who spoke to me to you, but I do hope they say good things. She gave a small laugh as if to brush off his pleasantry, which I knew had a much deeper meaning. After all, I didn't need heard a lot about her, both from Queen Maeva, who had warmly recommended her to me, and from Robert, who tried to paint her as an ungodly heathen and temptress the minute she set foot in the capital. Okay, we're gonna like her. Of course, your queen keeps showering you with praise. Well, then allow me to return the kindness, and to tell you how fantastic Maeva is. She'll make a formidable ally. Her familiar way of talking about her ruler made me quirk an eyebrow, but I didn't mention it. After all, Assyrian customs were much different from ours, and her relationship with her queen was none of my concern. Although she didn't use the thin casual tone talking about Calidya nobility, there would be no issue. In any case, I do hope Calidya is to your liking, Lady Asha. Well, unfortunately, I still haven't had time to visit your beautiful lands and just taste your many specialties. Therefore, the question may be a bit premature. She gave me a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes, which made me see that her answer was an elegant way to not speak ill of the place without lying. Now that it was my castle and my nation, it did upset me a little, but I couldn't be mad at her for finding the place a bit drab. My father never had a keen eye for interior design. I was about to ask her more futile questions, but Robert stepped in the space between us. The gesture was overtly rude, but his position allowed him to act in that manner, and I turned away from Asher to listen to what he had to say. Oh, Your Majesty, please forgive me for interrupting, but I must speak with you on a topic of the utmost importance. He barely hid the dirty look he gave Asha. She understood the message and gratefully courtesied. I'll go breathe some fresh air in the gardens if you'll excuse me, Your Majesty. I mentally took note of where to find her if I wanted to continue the conversation, and bowed to her in lieu of goodbye. Then I focused my attention on Robert, wondering with some trepidation if something bad had happened. What's going on? Oh, don't worry, Your Majesty. Nothing that'll spoil your night. I just wanted to make sure you were taking my warnings about that Assyrian diplomat seriously. I don't find her trustworthy at all. I had to hold back a sigh. It was quite distressing to see him go to so much trouble, only to interrupt my conversation with a foreign dignitary. Please be comforted. She wasn't inviting me to dance naked in the sea in honor of the snake goddess Sif. I had said that in a playful tone, hoping to lighten the mood, but he looked even more upset. Oh, you should take this issue to heart. These people are insidious. They seem nice, you let the guard down, and by the time you realize you fall into the trap of a witch, it's much too late. I didn't have the patience to hear more of this, and I took an offended expression. I wasn't really religious, or oh no, I mean we're the nerd. Theology is our thing. Hey, my faith in the Four is sincere. I am offended, sir. I'd always relied on the gods. I'd even studied them, thinking one day I'd become a scholar. And I couldn't tolerate anyone implying my convictions were unsteady, or that I'm so easily influenced, especially given the importance of the order within Calidya. Shrouded in righteous anger, I gave Robert a withering look. Do you believe my faith could be so easily shaken, High Priest? Taken aback, he immediately softened and apologized profusely. Yeah, you better. I relaxed in turn. I'm taking note of your worries, and I promise I'll be careful, but you must understand, you simply cannot say such things about a foreign guest, especially not in public. This could have serious diplomatic consequences. He scowled once more, but didn't say a word, politely bowing instead. I understand, Your Grace. A short silence passed between us before he turned away, mumbling something about prayers he had to make. For the first time of the night, I found myself alone, and no one came to talk to me, perhaps for fear of getting caught in the fallout of this tense conversation. I enjoyed that respite and decided to go talk to... I mean, come on. Like, the brooding jackass? Our puppy dog knucklehead childhood friend? No, we're going to talk to our future roommate. I was very aware how ironic it felt to meet up with Asha to continue our conversation. Robert's words buried in the deep, dark corner of my mind, as if they had never existed in the first place. Like she mentioned, she was enjoying the fresh breeze in the gardens, and I had no trouble finding her. She was leaning against the balustrade of a gazebo. Casually, I came closer, and I leaned next to her, admiring the stars. I'm terribly sorry for that rude interruption, but one can't keep the gods waiting, as the saying goes. The little phrase was supposed to lighten the mood, but Asha gave me an indecipherable look that piqued my curiosity. Forgive me, I know your customs, but some of them are very... Oh, sorry, this is Asha. Forgive me, I know your customs, but some of them are very hard for me to grasp. You mean the fact that we have different gods? To my great surprise, she shook her head, making her hair dance around her. Oh, no, we have so many gods. I would be surprised if yours existed in some way in our pantheon. It's rather the concept of priests that bothers me. Gods are all powerful beings. Why would they lend their voice to fallible humans? If I have anything to say to anyone, I will speak directly to the person in question, without the risky interference of a go-between. Fucking Lutherans, man. Well, clearly, wasn't expecting that line of thinking, and my mind, as fogged up as it was by alcohol, did not help me find any convincing arguments. That irritated me quite a bit, as I always disliked not having the final word. Asha must have mistaken the nature of my contrariety, and she flashed me her most beautifully contrite smile. Oh, Ramban, there are so many more interesting things to talk about, especially tonight. Like your magnificent coronation, or this delicious wine from the islands that you've been serving, for example. I usually want more for small talk, but I couldn't get enough of her melodious accent, which emphasized her impeccable pronunciation. Okay, if we're going for impeccable pronunciation, I am miles off. Almost by instinct, I swirled the contents of my wine glass, which I had been foolishly holding, untouched, since Marjorie had warned me. At least this time, it allowed me to get to know my interlocutor. You're right, it is good. It's a Syrian import, isn't it? Hang on, was that me? Yeah, that was me. She swirled the wine around in her own glass, her gesture practiced and skillful, before taking a little sip, her eyes closed. Oh, yes, without a doubt. Block Castle, even. Half doubtful, half impressed, I didn't hide my surprise. You can tell where it's from, just like that? Oh, yes. Before working for Queen Maeva, I was a trader in that field. In fact, my travels were the reason I discovered your culture and learnt your language. Once more, I looked at her, intrigued and impressed. You sail? Numerous superstitions made it so women were unwelcome on board of ships in Calidya. Just imagining her on the seas was breathtaking. Oh, no, I don't have any seafaring skills. I'm incapable of reading a map or using a sextant. I leave that to the captain. I only take care of the products, or rather, I used to only take care of the products. How impressive. You look as young as me, and yet you seem to have led a much more eventful life. My reply seemed to surprise her, and she tilted her head to the side, making the metal beads in her hair chime. I think you're a bit younger than I am, Your Grace, and besides, you're empress. The title made me smile almost despite myself, but it didn't entirely remove the melancholy from my voice. from today only. I can only guess why she had led, but I felt frustrated in comparison to have waited all these years in the shadows. All I had done was study and place the rare pawns at my disposal in the best way I could prepare my coronation. Without the stroke of luck that ended my father's life prematurely, I could have waited much longer. The scholars always said he was as healthy as a horse. Oh. Solemnly, she held out her glass to invite me to toast, and looked me in the eye. But you'll rule for a great many years to come, and I'm glad to be here in Calidya to witness it, Your Majesty. She seemed sincere, and somehow her words managed to lighten my heart, while our glasses clinked one another. Okay, is there a way I can remove the text box or like just shrink it? She was right. Holding on to the past was useless. I had to look into the future, now that I truly had the power to change it. And I'm glad to have you by my side as well, Asha. I hope that the bonds between Assyria and Calidya will be strengthened thanks to your presence. I'll do my best, Your Grace. There was a short silence while we sized each other up and happily recognized in each other the same wit and the same strength of character. Finally, she lifted the glass to her lips and drained it with a sort of sensual sort of elegance. I set aside Marjorie's advice for a second and followed suit. The party was after all in my honor, and I wanted to savor a good glass of wine in good company under the stars. Okay. Your Grace, as you surely know, it is an essential task that comes with your role as rulers to listen to your subjects' petitions. They've accumulated since your father's death, and even before. You've never heard fond of that duty. Now that you've been crowned, you'll need to dedicate them a fair share of your time. It's especially important because the other advisors and myself have gotten used to lodging petitions on matters that require your attention, but do not fit into the Council's agenda. Yes, tutorial, please. All of this is very new to me. I wouldn't say no to further explanations. Petitions are matters that require your informed judgment, whether they pertain to trials, grant requests, or the various issues. The other advisors and myself are usually tasked with submitting them, but we may also pass on requests coming directly from your subjects. Now I divide them into two stacks, urgent affairs and current affairs. Now, of course, urgent affairs must be attended to as soon as possible, and I've added an exclamation mark to the stack for more clarity. Now, as long as our urgent affairs haven't been dealt with, I won't give you any current affairs, so as not to distract you with futile matters. As with everything that requires your input, petitions may necessitate the mobilization of certain resources, but don't forget they can also offer opportunities. Good decisions can turn out to be quite lucrative. Finally, you must keep in mind that improving the living conditions of your people will ensure their affection for you and, in the long run, contribute to the realm's prosperity. Is that clear? Make people happy, yes. Perfect. I suggest that you deal with one of mine first. Oh, sorry. Perfect. I suggest you deal with one of mine first. It's an issue that has been on my mind for a while. Can I see... Have we been keeping track of our stuff? No, actually. Well, maybe. It's, yeah, it's... I mentioned the ticks that go here. That'd be a little different in the demo compared to the tutorial. Oh, yeah. So, Calidya here. Is Fire Castle there. Oh, there we go. I can zoom a bit. There's Assyria. Ombe, Meridian, Vargas, the Belacroix Ocean. Okay. He took a moment to rummage the table before handing me a sealed parchment roll. There you go. I'll let you study that on your own. You can go about your business. Feel free to go through more of them so you can grow familiar with the process. You will be informed of that outcome in due time. Okay. Oh, so this is so. Even if the crown is yours, I'd beware of your bastard brothers. For some, an illegitimate son is far better than a woman, and I wouldn't want the nobility to use this excuse so they can get rid of you the first chance they get. I've tasked them with investigating them. At the moment, it seems that most of them live a modest life as craftsmen or servants. But the simplest minds can be easiest to sway, especially since you haven't established a bond with them, which means that nothing will stop them from betraying you. Message to dealing with the issue in a permanent way. That's your killing is your answer for everything, man. I don't necessarily disagree, but everything with you is deal with them permanently. And of course, assassination is apparently an option, and apparently it's the cheap option. You just use 2 Diplo. Or, as long as they haven't done anything, I refuse to let the paranoia get the best of me. That's fascinating. However, I do recognize that my half brothers are a threat, and we should definitely keep an eye on them. Assigned spies will have to react later. Or, we can throw money at the problem. I'll make them happy. We should ensure they don't have any desire to take the title from me or cause me harm. Ask them what they want to do their best satisfy those, but make sure they're warned by what their patron. We should. Oh yeah. The exactly. The overboard approach where we off everyone. We'll give them minders. It'll cost more Diplo, but that's not really a concern. Your Grace, all our spies are in place, and for the moment, they haven't noticed anything suspicious. Following the first report, I've set up increased surveillance around Aaron Villis, who appears to be having a fling with the daughter of a local lord, and Yassine Le Cordelier, as he is the Count of Villeroy's court. I'll keep you updated on the situation's evolution. Oh, sorry, that was the whole the Master of Murmurs. Gosh dang it. I should have known that. That's on me. We got petitions, we got politics. So there's actually we can't run through all of them. We only have a certain number of actions per day or per session. Let's see. Petition. Okay, this is Robert. Your Highness, an important expedition is currently being set up. It'll be led by the famous explorer Owahio Smith, accompanied by 2 notable scholars, the naturalist Jean Baptiste and the cartographer Johann. How come Owahio gets a last name but those guys don't? Their goal is to sail for the far end of the Bellicose Ocean, so they can uncover what hides at the world's end. This scientific expedition would allow us to detail our maps and research fauna, flora, and the geography of these new horizons. The scholars are very interested in this expedition, and many patients have already contributed to it. That is why I humbly ask for your participation. So we can do the budgetary option. We can spend some religion and say if the scholars are so interested they can pitch in as well. We'll fund half and then they'll cover the other. We're going to go Dutch on exploration. Yeah, you know what? Nah. Splash the cash. To learn about the world is a noble goal. Oh, your grace, expedition's up and ready to go. May Boston watch over them. The omens are good. I'm sure the expedition will be a success. Okay, so that was a petition. The events are not available in the demo. Oh, let's look at politics. Yeah, there were no exclamation points. Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, so this is this is where we can change our policies. Now, does that count as one of our actions? It might. Honestly, I'm okay with what we have. So let's say not back to the petitions. Oh, wait, developments. Let's see. Is it with Robert again? Let's see. Oh, your grace, I bring you news of the expedition led by Owahio Smith. The explorer has been found half dead on the Syrian coast. Apparently, their ship got wrecked a few hundred nautical miles from the coast. Owahio Smith was apparently saved by a school of dolphins before being captured by pirates. He then proceeded to escape by jumping ship and swimming back to dry land. Oh, he took the Julius Caesar approach. He thinks his companions are still alive and begs us to launch a new expedition to retrieve him. Let's see. So we can say no, or man, this would be 10 monies. So this would be a very expensive endeavor if we were playing legit. But yeah, you know what? We'll just see how it goes. Oh, stuff and stuff. That was a Wahio. You know what? I'm out of voices. Sorry. Your grace, your benevolence, we have been able to save my companions who were stranded on an archipelago of deserted islands. I do not have the words to express how grateful I am, but please accept these gifts as a thanks for your incredible generosity. They are exotic commodities that we have found on the island. They are all the rage of marketplaces. I hope they'll be enough to repay our debt. Okay, so that actually was. Now, I don't know if there's a set outcome or if it's always like that, but yeah, that basically paid for itself and then some. Okay, we're just coming up on 2 hours. Let's see. I was truly glad to be Empress now, but as I'd expected, I hadn't had a single moment to myself since coronation. There was an endless and continuous, that's kind of redundant, stream of people paying their respects and of more or less futile issues to solve. Even if I was happy to finally be able to exercise my power legitimately, I also felt I needed a break. Thus, after taking care of the most urgent matters, I decided to take a moment to relax in my bedroom, the gardens, or the library. Well, if Ash is going to be there, I say we go to the gardens. Oh, there we go. It actually tells us. Talk with Alexander. Talk with Theodore. I mean, screw that guy. No, more Asha. Taking a breath of fresh air seemed like the best way to replenish my reserves of energy, especially since the weather was lovely. I aimlessly walked along the garden trails, filling my lungs with clean air, when I saw Asha sitting on a bench, her eyes closed, her head thrown back. She looked so peaceful that I wondered if she was sleeping, and I approached her as stealthily as I could, trying not to wake her up. My spying talents must have been rather unimpressive, since she heard me and opened her eyes to look at me. With a polite smile, she politely bowed her head. "Oh, good day, your majesty. Are you here to take a sun bath as well?" She unceremoniously motioned to the bench, inviting me to join her. Although I was surprised by such familiarity, I was still tempted, and I sat down on the smooth wood, comfortably warmed up by the sun. Wow, it would be a crime to have such a beautiful garden and not want to take advantage of it. I can only approve. This is my favorite spot in the palace, alongside the library. I softly smiled at her, letting a lazy silence settle between us until I felt the need to start a conversation. So, tell me, do you enjoy Calidya? Ah, it's a beautiful place, but as beautiful as it may be, it only reminds me of how much more beautiful my island is. I'd never been to Assyria, but I'd heard the most wondrous descriptions of it. I could understand your homesickness, but at the same time, I felt a touch of chauvinism stir within me. This isn't a contest, Asha. I said that in a joking manner to hide my scowl, but she didn't budge, showcasing once more her talent for subtle backtalk. Well, that's good, because you'd lose. This would have annoyed me for most people, but her pert little expression simply made me want to play along, and I replied just as mischievously. Well, if you're feeling so homesick, I can always send you back. Oh, and deprive you of the only person with a sense of humor in your court? I highly doubt that, Your Grace. Especially since this place is in dire need of a feminine presence. The ratio would crash would you send me away. Her remark made me laugh, briefly, but openly. If what they say about Assyria is true, I suppose it must be strange for you to see so many men holding power. Oh, yes, and it just comforts me in the certainty that we've done the right thing, letting women rule. If only the rest of my people could hear what you're saying. You think your gender might stand in the way of your rule? You think? Obviously. Don't forget, I'm only here because my brother is dead and my father never remarried. I've been crowned, but I know many people still doubt my abilities and my legitimacy. And yet, you feel up to the task? I am definitely up to it. There wasn't a hint of doubt in my voice. My entire life had been built around this rule that was now mine. Asha seemed deep in thought. Have you been prepared yourself? To the best of my abilities, yes. I've read books, many books on many different subjects. I listened to my elders' advice, too. But there isn't exactly a course organized by the scholars for all this. There isn't one, really. Where I'm from, potential future queens receive a very strict education from an early age, which is designed to make them the best possible rulers. Everything is planned for. Even if you follow that curriculum, to be crowned, you still need to undergo a whole battery of tests supervised by the matriarchs. A queen can only be appointed once she's proved her discernment and her value. Impressed, but that was completely strange to me. I took in the information with curiosity. And do you think that's effective? Well, nothing's ever perfect, but we haven't had a single tyrant since the system's been set up. I'd only say it fosters a certain inertia. Our queens are protectors of the people. To fulfill that duty, they abandon their names, dedicate themselves to their task, and follow that long training which shapes them. That preserves us from the ambition of a single person who could decide to satisfy their thirst for power at the expense of others. But when you look closely, none of the 12 queens of the kingdom particularly stand out. Her analysis seemed thorough and far from the simple chauvinistic admiration I initially suspected of animating her. That prompted me to take some time as well and ponder before answering. I see. It's true that reigns on the continent are often eventful. But I do think that sometimes a strong-headed leader with a distinct personality is what's best to guide a nation in time of crisis. As I told you, Grace, nothing is ever perfect. And I wasn't trying in the slightest to cast doubt on your reign to come, if that's what you're thinking. If I was wary of you, I would have told you all those things. Well, thank you for your trust. Ever since my coronation's taken place, I haven't had a minute to step back and take everything in. Perhaps I'm too defensive. Oh, the way that the responsibilities that come with your title would break many people's backs, believe me. But you can't neglect yourself either, Your Grace. A tree worn down by the tantrums of nature isn't robust enough to bear its fruits. And even on that count, I think a series ahead of you. If you want to wind down, one day I'll show you one of those massages we're famed for. Oh, you don't say. A malicious spark flickered in her eyes, and coupled with that slightly husky tone of her voice, it made me blush. Eager to hide my embarrassment, I took refuge in humor. If you weren't more omen, I'd have sworn you were propositioning me. Oh, it's definitely a flirt with you, Grace. Oh. Her fragrance took me aback, and I found myself stunned silent. Nobles were fond of these kind of false seduction games, but I'd never seen it take place between two women. Asha won't flirt with you outside of romance scenes anymore, or Asha will continue to flirt with her even if you don't romance her. I mean, come on. You would dare try to corrupt my pure and innocent soul? My voice was clearly exaggerated and provocative, which seemed to amuse her. Well, you said it might be pure, but innocent? I doubt you. You're far too cunning for that. She winked at me. In any case, you know where to find me if you want to take me up on my massage offer. Believe me, once you try it, you won't be able to live without it. Well, yeah, I think, and it's good that the player has. It's like saying, "Hey, are you cool? Do you want to be flirted with all the time, or would do you like what do you consent to?" And I appreciate that. That's and the fact that we do now have the the Yuri option. I am I'm best pleased. Hmm. It might be best if I never try it out then. It would be most unfortunate if I fell into the hands of a foreign power. She burst into laughter when she saw the falsely worried face I put on. Then I joined her, alternating between open fits and small giggles until my stomach hurt. She was the first to calm down. Her face turned serious and she cleared her throat. Oh, I shouldn't bother you any longer. I'm afraid my little nap has dragged on longer than I planned, but it was a pleasure talking to you, Your Grace. All the pleasure's mine, Asha. Okay, oh, we have 3 turns now. Let's check our. Okay, that hasn't ticked up, but that is all going just fine. It looks like so. More petitions. let's see. Oh, we have Alexander. Okay.
Oh, Your Grace. Oh, I discovered someone has placed pagan talismans in the palace. One was even found in your living quarters. I don't think these amulets hold any sort of power, but the intentions are quite real. I cannot bear the thought that someone wishes to curse you. With the help, we've identified the servant behind these talismans. We have, however, stayed discreet. We await your orders before we take action. This could give us an opportunity to learn more about the situation.
So for free, we can arrest and interrogate. We can find an excuse to fire her and don't come near me if she doesn't want the order to find out our little secret. Or we can do a little intrigue and keep a discreet eye on her. She might lead us to other pagans. We might learn more about their intentions toward me. Okay, and the fact that this is coming from Alexander rather than Killian McMurderson, so the deal with them permanently is not an option. Yeah, let's poke into this. Okay. Oh, so we have the we keep actively keeping an eye on Miranda, but for the time being, we have not learned anything. Apart from a few ridiculous and harmless rituals, her life is just as mundane as it is boring. She does not seem to be meeting with other pagans or actively working to bring about your downfall. All right. Okay, that's Robert. Now, your Grace, as you know, tradition requires that every emperor have an immense mausoleum built in their memory, with a gigantic statue in the likeness adorning the tomb. Your father's body is currently in a coffin within a sterile great temple, so that pilgrims may come to pray over him, but it is high time to build him a tomb befitting of his glory. Okay, so we can say, just nah, find a spot in the temple's crypt in that palace. It should be more than enough. Um, who has mausoleum by spend my first on the living rather than the dead. Make sure it's decent, but without any necessary embellishments. Or we spend lavishly. We don't want to oppose tradition, and yeah, maybe it'll please the either the scholars or the nobles or both. Yeah, we're spending yeah because we got a whole bunch of goods from that ill-fated expedition that came back. So go for it. We'll pretend we don't hate our dad. Okay, yeah, the people hated that, the nobility loved it, and then the religious loved it. Oh, your Grace, mausoleum is still under construction, but the results look promising. There's no doubt that when it's done, religious fervor will be at its peak. Mausoleums are a privilege reserved for the imperial family, and this building will remind everyone that you are sitting on the throne because your lineage has been blessed by the four themselves. I do insist on warning you that the emperor was not very much liked by the people. Consequently, a few bitter remarks have been made about the outlandish cost of construction. Yeah, our dad was apparently kind of a shithead. Okay, now we got Alden. No, Your Grace, this won't be an easy task, but this is just a modification of the current inheritance law in use since Magnus the First. The goal would be to simplify it and to avoid potential bloodbaths in the absence of a male heir. Taking inspiration from the rather vague rules of the First Kingdom of Terranfell, which had allowed Melisandre to become queen, I suggest changing the law so that the firstborn of the family becomes the heir regardless of the gender. There's no doubt a big change might not please everyone, but I do think in the long run this would only benefit Calidya. Okay, so there's no resource cost to this. It's just a law change. So yeah, make it happen. And if anyone complains, they can go pound sand. Amend the law, make it into the possibility for the handler to designate their will in an and there will another heir amongst their children if they believe the eldest is fit to govern. Or could create more conflicts. Let's leave the law as it is, but clarify it. Let's just add an amendment specifying that the absence of a first-degree male heir or will indicate otherwise, a female heir will be preferred if there is one. Um, Hang on. So he wants so that the firstborn becomes the heir regardless of their gender. Yeah, you know what? Sure. Okay, the nobility hated that, but they love us another way, so it's fine. As expected, this law was met with staunch resistance. The nobility is taking a stand against this breach of tradition and implores you to withdraw it. Your Honor herself advocates for uneasy, but I suggest waiting and see how the situation evolves. If you bend to the slightest pressure, the nobility think they can influence you as they wish. Okay, so I'm gonna drop a save here. Oh wow, there's 10 pages worth of saves too. So I think they are expecting you to be it's probably not a bad idea to be to saving regularly. Yeah, no, noble's gonna noble, but I mean, they're we're gaining like that's like one turn's worth of noble opinion. Yeah, we've been going for 2 hours. I think that's probably a decent enough stopping point. But yes, so that is the well, that wasn't the whole demo for Imperial Grace, but that's the all we're gonna go for now. We've been going for a couple hours, and we do have other demos to get to. But yeah, that's really neat. Um, the resource management aspect is not one I've seen, and that's encouraging to see. Um, and great for if you're one of those min maxers like me. Um, having it be from the female perspective and the obviously there's lots of conventionally attractive men, but it's good that they threw us a female. I'm assuming romance option as well. I don't know how that's going to work in terms of excuse me, like unless we're going to change the law to where the empress can marry a woman. But it's nice to have that there. And let's see. Yeah, obviously it's a neat the fantasy setting isn't always my cup of tea, but I do like what I see here, and yeah I think as Brady B has noted, there's a good amount of essentially for a visual novel, a lot of character customizability, which is nice. Um, Not a lot of leeway in terms of like what your character can be. Like you can get like a small buff in terms of like more army, more religion, more money, or more diplomacy. But then I guess with it being a visual novel, that doesn't necessarily lend itself to a broad array of playstyles. It's like what resources are available to you and what maybe unlock some dialogue options. But still, yeah, I mean, definitely intriguing. So yeah, Imperial Grace, as I say, according to the Steam page, it comes out. It's going to come out sometime in 2026. No further details than that. But yeah, if you like what you see, I see there's more demo than you saw here. So check it out for yourself if you're interested. But yeah, so Twitch folks, hang on just a second. I'm going to throw in some highlights and we'll move on to the next demo. YouTube friends, thank you for being here. We will see you next time, and bye for now.